sure that we start recording, I do want to let you know if you've never been to one of these success meetups before, or if someone perhaps, shared the link with you and you're wondering how you get back, you're wondering how often we host these, where the recordings go. Let me just get you, situated there. In KV Core, in your KV Core platforms, over here on the right-hand side where you'll see KV Core training, if you head on over to the live training calendar, you'll notice that you can choose webinars based on your time zone. So I'm in California, so I'm going to go click on Pacific here. And our KV Core Success meetups, if you check the calendar, are available Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. I will let you know Tuesdays and Thursdays typically cover more KV Core basics and are usually held by our training team. I teach a lot of our Tuesday sessions. Not sure why I got Monday on the brain here today. And Christina, my fellow trainer, teaches a lot of the Thursday sessions. If you come join us on a Wednesday, just know that the subjects might be a little bit more advanced, as they're typically held by our Done For You services team. Now, the Success Meetup webinars, feel free to click in and register for any of them or all of them. Additionally, we do record those success meetups, and they do get added to our Inside Real Estate YouTube channel, which you can find a couple sneaky links to our Inside Real Estate YouTube channel and Facebook group up here at the top. So I'll go ahead and, just for joining here today, if you guys don't already have access to these, or if you haven't joined them prior, I'll go ahead and share some links out in the chat. If you go to the Inside Real Estate YouTube channel, and head on over to playlists, you'll find that there's a playlist specifically for these success meetups. There's a playlist, if you're newer to KV Core, there's one for Mastering KV Core Tools for Success. Is a great beginner guide to a lot of the tools we use here at KV Core. And if you're looking for more advanced strategies, next level strategies, it's a great playlist for you. So I'll go share this playlist page out with you all. So popping that in the chat for you guys. Additionally, through that live training calendar, I mentioned there's a link to our Inside Real Estate Facebook discussion group. Now, this is not only a great place to synergize with like-minded individuals, ask your KV Core questions, ask your real estate related questions, but additionally, we typically try to post, at the beginning of each week, what the topics will be for our success meetups. Every once in a while, it gets missed, but sometimes we also post in the recordings here. So another excellent tool to go and join, popping that in your chat. All right. And then I also want to mention, before we get started here, every time I teach a success meetup, which I don't know if I've introduced myself yet. My name is Mariel Ortiz. I'm a product trainer with Inside Real Estate. Been with the company for several years, actually starting out as a member of our lead configuration team, the team that's on standby to help you with the bulk imports of your contacts. So you'll often find me on our Tuesday success meetups. If you attend any of the orientations, how it works, or building your pipeline webinars, those are usually me. But every time I teach one of these success meetups and a lot of other webinars that I teach as well, I like to create a handy little doc to guide you through your journey. So I've made this one specifically for our session here today. I'm going to pop that in the chat as well, as we're sharing out all sorts of resources. And in the chat, you should be able to click that Google Doc link to open this up on your screen. And I might just advise, you don't have to if you don't want to, but maybe bookmark this one for later, as this guide is going to have some links to various support articles on the topics that we're going to talk about here today. Additionally, going to challenge you guys to, once you learn about these tools, maybe try it out for yourself in the platform. Everyone has access to that Promote a Listing Playbook. And additionally, I also like to post the recording link at the bottom of the sheet. So you guys get early access to this recording. You don't have to wait for it to get uploaded to YouTube. If you know that you want to catch this or review it later, or share it out with your coworkers, whoever else is working at KV Core, you can do that. So give me a couple of hours after today's webinar is concluded, and I will make sure that that gets added to this agenda for you guys. So I mentioned today's topic, we're talking about the Promote a Listing Playbook. Now, I will admit, I go through the playbook, for fun and orientations. I'll do a quick little demo, but walking through it again today, kind of in preparation for today's meeting. I'm reminded that it's a pretty, while there's only 7 steps, you could spend a good chunk of time in that playbook. So I will let you know, tell me to pause, slow down if you have questions along the way. If we need to, we might turn this into a 2-part success meetup if we need to go deep in the weeds. Additionally, I want to mention that all KV Core success meetups, it's tips, tricks, and Q&A. While we provide the tips and tricks, it's also Q&A for you. So if you have questions about your KV Core platform, whether they're related to today's topic or something else in the platform, feel free to also pop those in the Q&A or chats, because I want to make sure we also make time for your individual KV Core questions as well. All right, so I'll try to make sure that I save time at the end to remind you guys to ask those questions. But of course, if you have them along the way, feel free to pop them in the Q&A or chat. And just for recording purposes, for anyone who's watching this recording later, we should try to include this agenda for you guys probably in the description section of each of those webinars on the YouTube channel. I think when we post it out in the Facebook group as well, we'll also try to include that guide, so it's easy to access later as well. All right, so for today's meeting, we're going to be talking about the Promote a Listing Playbook in KV Core. And for some of you, if you're brand new to KV Core, you might not even know what a playbook is. You might be scratching your head right now saying, what is she going on about? Well, playbooks in KV Core, so let me go ahead and jump on into my demo account for you guys here, are going to be located in the left-hand column, right up at the top, or you might also see them in the center of your dashboard. And playbooks in KV Core combine the tools of the platform into an easy to follow checklist, best practices for a couple different purposes. Each playbook has its own unique purpose. So I've done sessions in the past on the Gather Your Sphere and Work Your Sphere. I think I did a success meetup about those last year. We'll probably do another one coming up sometime this year. But today we're talking about the Promote a New Listing Playbook, and does exactly what it says. It's for promoting your new listings through KV Core. And I'll let you know, to get started, you'll choose a listing if you have one available. Or additionally, you may have options to choose, say, a company listing or a team listing. So I don't have a listing right now, but maybe I have permission to promote a team member's listing. So I'll go ahead and I'll click this one just to start promoting for today. And it's going to walk you through 7 easy steps, or 7 easy plays, hence the term playbook, for promoting that listing. So we'll unpack this together, guys. We'll walk through some of the processes, talk about some best practices as we go along as well. Oh, and Keith said, somewhat unrelated question, how does the Google Contact Sync work? Is it a one-time sync or is it dynamic? Yeah, I could go ahead. We'll devote some time to that towards the end, since we just started on the playbooks, but I will let you know, just to answer your question, it is a continuous sync. It is a 2-way sync if you're syncing contacts from Google to KV Core. And I can go ahead and I'll pop a support article in there now, just in case, but I'll make sure to review that towards the end. I'll just leave your question up on my Q&A, so I remember to go back to that later. But let me pop in the chat for you real quick. That Google Contact Sync that he mentioned, just so you guys know, you can connect a Google or an Outlook account to KV Core. And that can be used not only for syncing contacts, but for syncing over your emails. You can use it for syncing over your Google Calendar if you want to reference it in KV Core. And additionally, sometimes it's just a nice practice to have it connected. You don't have to use any of those features. You don't have to sync your emails, your contacts, or your calendar if you don't want to, but just having that connected to KV Core can also improve your email deliverability as well. So for those of you that are concerned about, emails potentially going to spam, that can actually help as well, just having that connected. All right, so jumping into the Promote a Listing Playbook, as I mentioned, I went and I clicked a listing, and it's going to start with the playbook itself. I'm able to see playbook results once we're done with the playbook. And there's a little quick sheet where I can go to access any links that are provided from this playbook. So we'll address these top two options a little later in our journey. So there's, as I mentioned, 7 different plays. You've got a little progress bar as you make your way through this. Every time you're working on any playbook, whether it be this playbook or promote or the Sphere playbooks, I should say, which are the other options. Do recommend paying attention to these items up above. As you complete each item, you'll see a little green check mark up here to show that you've completed that aspect of the playbook. So it's pretty easy to go back and see what you haven't worked on or what you still need to do if you want to. Of course, all of these are optional. Nothing's mandatory. You can go ahead and skip a play if you don't want to do that part. Now, the very first step is about announcing your listing. So you have the ability to grab that listing, and the very first item's a pre-created email template for you to notify other agents within your company so they can get word out to their buyers. So kind of a cool tool here. You can choose which offices that you're a part of, or if you're part of a team, you just want to share it out to your team, or you can choose specific users in some cases as well. So who are you sending this announcement out to? It's got that pre-created subject line for you, but of course you can go and edit this if you want to. And here is the email preview. So it's going to say new listing announcement. It'll auto-populate your listing address, whatever listing you're using here. It'll include a photo of the listing, some basic details. So all of these I want to mention are what's called merge tags in KV Core. When you use email or text templates in the platform, a lot of those pre-created templates will automatically merge that information into your emails or text messages. A lot of times you'll see merge tags be in the opening statement of a template. So it'll say something like, hi, first name, and it'll merge in that context first name to the email. So you can add merge tags about listing details, about lead details, about your personal details or company details. So lots of options with merge tags, but you can see this one auto populates in. And what's also a really cool fun fact about this is if you go send this email out to other agents in your brokerage, let them know about your listing, there's a little button in this email that if they go to click it, it's going to pull anyone in their KV Core Smart CRM who has search criteria that matches your listing. So they're able to quickly identify in their CRM who might be interested in your potential listing. So pretty cool, pre-creates that for you. Keep in mind, if you don't want to use the existing Promote a Listing Playbook email template, you could go and you could choose a different template from KV Core, or you can also create your own templates in KV Core. I'll just mention if you want to create it beforehand and use something else for this playbook, but this one's pre-created for you. And again, auto fills in all that information for you. Yes, and in the chat there, Anthony asked, can an agent who is not the listing agent use the playbook to promote a company listing? Yes, absolutely. Now, do be wary if your brokerage has specific rules about, what you are or aren't allowed to promote. Be wary of that. But yes, absolutely, you could promote any listing that you have access to. Yeah. All right, and then moving right along here. So not too much to mention about that. I will go ahead and quickly point out, I did mention that you can create your own templates and things like that in KV Core or utilize other pre-created KV Core templates. Just for anyone who's brand new to KV Core, if you're looking for where to go to add in templates in KV Core, if you go to your marketing tab and Smart Campaigns, a very often overlooked aspect of KV Core is this is where your templates live. So you can go see all the pre-created KV Core options and you can create your own templates here as well. So little sidebar, just wanted to mention that as well since we're talking about templates. Now, I can go ahead and send this email right now, or I can go ahead and skip that play, but just for fun, why not? Let's go ahead and add it. I'm going to go ahead and send it to myself here. So I'm not bugging any of my coworkers here today, but just for testing purposes, we'll go ahead and we'll send that email. There we go. I can see that that item's been checked off and it's going to move me on to the next play, which is about contacting matching buyers. Now, Just like that email template will, have a quick button that your coworkers can go click to see if they have any consumers in their database who have search criteria that matches that listing. Additionally, KV Core will provide you with a little smart list. It's looking at the contacts in your smart CRM to see if you have anyone who has search criteria, which matches that listing. So it's going to pull those people up here, and it pre-creates, again, has a text message template and a email template about your new listing. So you can go and send it out to them specifically. So I can click send and schedule to send both of those out right now. And I can toggle off if I just want to do the email and not the text message. I can deselect that, or vice versa. Deselect the email if I want to. And I'll mention that while KV Core does provide you with a smart list, if you want to notify other people in your smart CRM, you can create your own custom list or choose who it is you want to pinpoint based on your saved filters in KV Core or hashtags you have in KV Core. So for anyone, again, that is not familiar with saved filters or hashtags, let me quickly bounce out of here for a little explanation of that as well. So in your smart CRM, where all of your contacts are housed, if you're not familiar with hashtags, hashtags are your own custom label of your choosing. So got a lot of hashtags in here underneath their names, that italicized writing. Those are all the hashtags I've got for these contacts. So I've got lots of hashtags. Lots of hashtags in the system, to separate out my first time home buyers, for sale by owners, people that are part of a credit repair program. I've, specifically labeled, say, sphere contacts that are, say, not looking to sell or not looking to buy, but maybe I'm just they're in the system for other reasons. I've also got some hashtags to help split up those sphere contacts, who's a friend, who's a family member, who's a coworker. Additionally, a really helpful hashtag in that promote a listing playbook scenario would be if you specifically labeled which contacts are, say, looking for a specific feature in a home. So maybe if my new listing that I'm sharing out is say, a home with a pool or a home with 2 garages, if I had hashtags for my contacts, if they're, hashtag looking for pool home or pool home buyer or hashtag 2 garage buyer, it would be really easy for me to pull up those hashtags here. So I think I have hashtag pool home in my system. Yes, I do. As you start typing in a hashtag, if you've created or added it to a contact previously in KV Core, it should automatically pull that up. It looks like I need to go check my hashtags because I've got a couple that are the same. I probably need to go clean that up a little bit. But there we go. It's pulling up by hashtag, and it's showing me how many contacts I have in my CRM with that hashtag. So who would be receiving this? Additionally, with the saved filters, I'll point out in your CRM as well, you've got a handy filters tab. And you don't only have to filter by hashtags, your own personal label, but you can filter by their status. So are they a new lead, a client, someone you've closed a deal with? Are you pinpointing your buyers, your sellers? Are you pinpointing people with a phone or an email? That might be a handy filter to save. If you're sending out a mass email to everyone, you might be worthwhile to save a filter for just the people with an email, so they're easier to pinpoint. And additionally, are they already receiving search alerts or reports or campaigns? So lots of filtering options there. You can save your own filter in your CRM, and you could use a saved filter as well. Some examples, I've got, active lead buyers looking for pool homes, active lead buyers with emails, people that should receive holiday emails. I've got a couple different categories here for my saved filters as well. So different ways that you can grab those and send them on out. I'm just going to go ahead. We'll go ahead and we'll send it out to these people on my smart list here today. They should be fine to receive that messaging. And just noticing a question in the Q&A. What if we don't see a notify agents as an option in our KV Core playbooks? It may be something that is specific to your brokerage. As far as I know, that promote a listing playbook works the same way for just about every brokerage, but I will say EXP is, a very large brokerage, with just because it's possible that they might have something specific set up for them. I think in some instances, maybe some brokerages might not want you, you know, with such a large brokerage like EXP, I imagine that you could end up sending that message to a lot of people, and you know, a lot of those messages could be sent out. So maybe that was something to disable that. Now, on this next step, I'm just going to go ahead and hit send and schedule, and we're going to move right along. Oh, let me just double check. Oh, and the schedule an email, just so you know, this is not something that's going to necessarily email out right away unless you choose it. So it's using our scheduled mass emailer tool, just something to point out here. In your marketing tab, there's a scheduled mass emailer tool where you can schedule emails in advance. So that's what this tool is using right here. So you can choose the date at which you wanted to send out. So I could set it for today if I wanted to. Set it for today, set it for, it looks like the earliest time it's allowing me is 3 p.m. Now this is Eastern time. And I can go and adjust that if I need to. So this is something I could set in advance, or I could send it out at the same time. But just know that it will ask you it will give you some options there for timing as well. All right, I'm going to click send and schedule. And then let's see in the chats, how can I save all the links that are in the chats? Yeah, unfortunately, I know a lot of those links, you'll probably click them kind of one at a time to open up. Little pro tip, I will let you guys know. This agenda that I've shared out in the chat, if you click on this one at the very least, and, you know, just click on it, should open up on your screen, and bookmark this one for later. This has a lot of the other links which I've shared out. So I have links to that YouTube channel and Facebook group already included in this agenda. So if you just want to grab the agenda, you're going to get the other links as well. So I hope that helps, Kennedy. All right, so back to the playbook. Next one is creating a text code. This is where we start to get into lead capture as well. Now, text codes are really great for your print advertising. So flyers, postcards, sign writers, and gives you a little visual example as well. Now, what this is going to do is it's going to pre-create a text code for you for your listing. Oh, and you don't see the agenda in the chat. You know, if anyone jumped in a little bit late, it might not be showing in the chat. So let me go ahead and pop that agenda in there one more time for you guys. Thanks for letting me know. There you go. Hope that helps. Okay. Let's go back. So this text code is going to pre-create a text code for your listing. It's typically just going to grab the, the address and combine it into a handy code. Now, when you're creating your print advertising, or you could put it online as well, up to you. When you use that code, it's going to also utilize your KV Core smart number, something to note as well. When someone goes to text your code, it's going to capture their contact information, add it to your smart CRM, and that way you've captured new leads. Additionally, it's going to send out to them a link to this listing on your KV Core website, so those consumers can find more information about it. So that's what this pre-created text code does. Now, I do have an option here on the right that I'll point out to you where I can go to edit those settings. So I can change the text code. If that's really not what I want that text code to say, I can adjust it. Additionally, you may have the option, if you have access to more than one smart number or more than one digital number in KV Core, you might be able to choose which smart number you can attach this code to. So again, just make sure that you're, keeping track of what number and what text code you provide there, because you got to give them both on your print advertising so they know where to text that code to. And then again, the default is it's going to send them to a link on your website about the listing. If you want, instead of, them being sent to that link on your website about the listing, you can add in your own personal message instead if you would prefer. But I tend to keep it to the default. All right, and you can go and save those as well. All right, so we've got our text code. Now I can go and I can continue on to the next step. I will mention that if you need to go back and reference your text code, so maybe you're just following along with the playbook now, but you're going to go back and create your print advertising later, or maybe you want to utilize this text code later. In your quick sheet is where you're going to see, if you want to just quickly jump to the text code quick sheets where it's going to be stored. So you can go back and reference it later rather than going all the way through this playbook again. All right, I'm going to go ahead and hit save changes. We'll move on to the next step, which is about leveraging social media. Now, I will mention, everyone has access to, or should have access, in my understanding, to the Promote a Listing Playbook. It is included in KV Core. Now, the playbook itself is free, but I will let you know this item Property Boost Now is a marketplace offering through KV Core. So just know if you do boost your listing now, unless your brokerage or you specifically have already paid for Property Boost, this is something that you would pay in addition. What Property Boost does here at KV Core is it boosts your listing through Facebook. And generates more leads for you as well. And you can see examples of the ads for desktop and mobile. If you want more information about Property Boost, you can also find it through the marketplace. It's typically the first offering, very popular product. For more insight into ways to purchase leads and information about that in KV Core, I highly recommend our Wednesday's webinar, Marketplace Overview, for a deeper dive. I will admit, I don't work too much with marketing, so that's all I'm really going to say about Property Boost here today. And we're going to continue on. I'm going to skip this Boost Now option. I'm going to skip that play. We'll move on to digital promotion. All right. So for digital promotion, getting back to all the free stuff included with your Promote a Listing Playbook, it's going to pre-create squeeze pages, landing pages, and you can auto post your listing to Craigslist. For some of you, you might also see an option for a virtual tour as well. Now, squeeze pages and landing pages in KV Core, while this playlist creates these pieces for you, you can also generate your own squeeze pages and landing pages. You can also post to Craigslist in different places in KV Core as well. So just something to note if you want to create your own custom squeeze or landing pages, or even your own custom text codes. You can find those in the lead engine. So there's those landing pages, squeeze pages, and text codes. And additionally, if you're looking to, post any listing to Craigslist, maybe not, maybe you don't want to go through the whole Promote a Listing Playbook, but you do want to post your listings to Craigslist. I'll get into the Craigslist auto poster in a little bit, but your listings tab, if you go pull up any listing in KV Core, you have the option through this More Actions drop down on the right to post to Craigslist. So even if you're not using the Promote a Listing playlist, you can use these features in other places of KV Core as well. All right, so these squeeze pages, landing pages, and text codes, some things to mention here. I can go and I can edit settings, so I can change some of that configuration here. So I can choose when leads are captured by, say, clicking on that squeeze page link and signing up. I can choose what that lead's source will be when it enters my smart CRM, what's going to be labeled as where they were captured from. The hashtags, while it will pre-create a hashtag label for the leads that are captured, you can also add in additional hashtags if you want to. And then property views allowed before registration. If you've never created a squeeze page before, what this is doing is essentially squeezing that lead back to your website to register. I'll give you a little visual of what this looks like. Go paste it into my chat bar. All I did was I grabbed the link from that squeeze page and I put it into my web browser so I can load it on up so you can see. So you see it's going to prompt them to register, but it just looks like you're sending them to that listing on your website so they can, scroll through pictures, find more information about it. So that's what that squeeze page does. This property view is allowed before registration, like your website. Most leads that are exploring listings have a couple of clicks before that registration box pops up and asks to capture their email address and their cell phone number as a password. So you can go and you can adjust that if you want to. 2 is the default. That's usually what we find is the most successful. Give them 2 clicks, let them explore a tiny bit before you reel them in. So they got to sign up for more. Additionally, you could change this where it's an immediate pop-up, or you could change this where, that registration box never pops up and they can just explore as long as they want to. Now, most cases, we definitely want them to register. So we probably want to, choose 1 or 2. But in some instances where, say maybe you're posting out the squeeze page in addition to, say, a Facebook ad where they're already registering through the Facebook ad, or if you wanted to post something like a squeeze page in a Facebook group, in some cases, those groups may have rules around whether or not you're allowed to post a link that requires people to register. So you've got workarounds for that as well. You can't always go adjust these settings if necessary. All right. So I always encourage, if you want to test them out, copy that link, again, post it in your web browser to check it out before you send it out. And there's a little auto poster, or well, not auto poster, but little quick links to post directly to Facebook, to Pinterest, to Twitter, as you saw there. My computer's running just a little bit slow. I got a lot of tabs open. So there you go. Quickly create a post to Facebook. Okay. So landing pages, squeeze pages. I'll also quickly give you guys a preview of a landing page here as well. As I will mention, while you can create your own landing pages, the ones that are pre-created for you through the Promote a Listing Playbook do have a different look and feel to them. So if you've ever created a landing page or viewed a landing page in KV Core, just to give you a little contrast here, they usually look a little bit more like this. You'll have a couple boxes where you can add in text, you choose the background image, but those pre-created ones through a Promote a Listing Playbook look like this. They say just listed, have the address, property summary, and then here they go to register with an email and cell phone. Okay, and then find more information about it. Redirects them again to your website in KV Core. All right, so a couple different pre-created options for you. It makes it really quick and easy. You don't really have to put any work into them. You just go ahead and share them out as is, and it can start generating leads for you. And then additionally, there's the Craigslist auto poster where you can post your listing to Craigslist, really just a couple of clicks. Now, for this post to Craigslist option, I do want to mention that you would have to first download the extension, which allows the Craigslist auto poster. So you'd find that through the support article. I believe I've included a link in the agenda for you guys. Yes, Craigslist auto poster. If you go click on that, it'll take you to the support article. And you can figure out how to download that extension. It'll show up in your web browser. It'll look like this little blue and white icon in the web browser. And then pretty minimal setup. When I click post to Craigslist, since I've got that extension set up, it's going to ask me, which location fits best. So I'm in San Diego, California. So I'm going to choose which area it's, most appropriate for. And, my hands are off the keyboard. All this is happening magically where it's creating this posting for me. So it adds in the title, the photo, the map of where it's located, got the description here. And it also includes my text code in that Craigslist auto poster. So another way to share out that text code with users and capture more leads. So really cool tools accessible all through this Promote a Listing Playbook. Again, as you can see, it does most of the work for you. All right, so I'm going to hit done. We're going to continue on. I'm noticing I'm missing a chat or in the Q&A. Let's double check here. Ron says, when I create a landing page, can I tie it to a QR code for people to scan? Trying to think of different ways you could do that with landing pages. Now, those pre-created landing pages are kind of set in the ways that they are built. When you're building out your own custom landing pages, I'm trying to think how you would do that real quick before we kind of get too, I don't want to get us too off topic. But when you're building these out, suppose you could do if you create a video in here, the main image on your video could be a QR code. So that could be a way for them to scan and be redirected, I'm sure. Trying to think other ways that you could do that. Probably wouldn't want it to be your background image. You could redirect them to a text code as well. So for example, if you're building your own landing pages in KV Core, you're choosing, again, that background image, you're choosing what the text says, you're choosing what the button says, and you're getting to also choose, when they register, where do they get redirected to? So after they sign up, are they, they're not hanging out on the landing page anymore. You're redirecting them to somewhere else. Now, in most cases, we might say, redirect them to your website, but you could redirect them to another page that has a QR code for people to scan. So that would be kind of a workaround I might recommend to you if you've that QR code, hosted somewhere online. So I hope that helped to make sense. Maybe we can unpack that more later if you still have questions. And then let's see, when you tweet a landing page, does it show up on Twitter as a link to click? Yes, I wish I had an example of a visual that I could give you. We might have a support article on it, or you know what, I bet if you check our Inside Real Estate YouTube channel, I bet you anything there's at least 1 or 2 videos that talks about posting to Twitter. And I bet there's a visual somewhere online about, what it looks like when you tweet a landing page. I don't have a Twitter account, unfortunately, to demo that right now. Something maybe I'll create in the future for you guys, but yeah, great question. I believe it does show an image and it has a link for them to click. Or, well, no, I guess with Twitter, it probably wouldn't show an image. That's an excellent question. Worth exploring. Maybe that'll show up in another success meetup. All right, so we're nearing the end of our playbook. We're on the very last section, which is follow up and communicate. So we're doing a lot to promote this listing so far. It's a good idea to keep our, homeowner, the seller, informed of all of our progress. Now, you don't have to use this option. Again, you're welcome to skip over any of these plays that don't work for what you need the system for. But if I want to include the seller in what I'm doing here, I can go and find that contact if they are already a contact in my CRM. Now, keep in mind, if you're promoting a listing that, it's not your listing, maybe you're not directly connected to the homeowner, then you might not be able to find them in your CRM. But if it's, again, your listing, your homeowner that you are working with your client, you can go and find them in here. I'll just go pull myself up here, my demo, my test lead here. And give you guys a little visual what that looks like. So when you choose who you're sending this report to, and you'll notice I could choose multiple people. So maybe if, maybe I've got both spouses in here as separate contacts, I could choose both of them. And here's a little visual what that email looks like. Now you'll have your logo posted here, but underneath we've got seller's report. It'll give the address. As promised in this email report, you'll find the latest activity, updates, notes, and metrics for your listing. So it's showing you, how many open houses, how many online views. So through your website, how many people have viewed this listing. Gives a little breakdown, talks about when those open houses are scheduled. Kit assets is based on if you have marketing materials that are created through KV Core. For more information about a seller report, again, in your webinar agenda, I have included a link to a support article that goes into the nitty-gritty of what a seller report includes. But essentially, you can just kind of go ahead and set that up right here. All I have to do is click Start Emails, and then I'll let you know. Let's go find that contact in my CRM real quick. And I'll explain why in just a second here. So my little demo contact, this is the one that I just put on seller reports. We can now see in that contact's timeline in the bottom, in the right-hand corner, I just scrolled on the right side, we can see, well, this contact's also set up on search alerts, no campaign right now. They're receiving market reports, a listing valuation, but now they're also receiving seller reports as well. So I can always go and update this if I need to, and I can, send out a new one as updates occur. So different information, of course, you'll also see in the timeline after a seller report has been sent out. So little reminder as well, you can go review that information later. All right, and last but not least, activate a smart campaign. If you're following those, all the plays of this playbook and you're creating digital promotion pieces and you're posting out that text code, well, you're probably generating some leads, and we don't want them just to sit in the KV Core and not be nurtured. Now, you can absolutely follow up with them manually if you like. Additionally, if they're captured through your KV Core website, over time, they're going to probably receive reoccurring search alert emails from you in KV Core. But you can also choose what kind of follow-up smart campaign they receive as well. So smart campaigns in KV Core, again, if you're not familiar, you'll find them in the marketing tab. These smart campaigns in KV Core are not your average email or text strip campaigns, but they're curated plans of action. A lot of them also include, they'll schedule calls for you, they'll create tasks for you to follow up. So really follow their entire journey. And while the default campaign would typically be, so if someone came in, through a digital promotion piece, they would typically come into KV Core listed as a new lead and a buyer because they were looking at listings. If it's not a lead that's already in your system, it's a new lead, someone you're kind of still looking for information on. So that's how they'll be labeled in KV Core. And all the campaigns, all the pre-created options in KV Core are geared towards however that contact is listed. So there is a campaign specifically for your new lead buyers. You'll find different campaign options for contacts that come in as new lead sellers. You'll have different campaigns for people you've closed a deal with, different campaigns, different conversations for, your clients, for your sphere contacts, so on and so forth. But for these new leads we're generating, again, they would come in as new lead buyers, and the most appropriate or the default campaign would be the default new lead buyer campaign. So if I just click use default, that's what it's going to start sending out to my leads. Now, if that's not the campaign I want to use, or a little pro tip, you may even want to consider possibly creating or customizing that default new lead buyer campaign to include specific information about your listing. So you can go and make edits to your campaigns. I think we've recently taught a couple different success meetups all about campaign editing, if you go back and check the YouTube channel. So if you need more information on that, there's also a great support article on it. But you could, little pro tip, if you wanted to, perhaps build something like a smart campaign that's, maybe you're utilizing that default new lead campaign, but you change up some of the messaging so it's specific to that listing that they were captured from. So for example, if you went and grabbed, so all of our pre-existing campaigns are here in the KV Core library. Again, I'm in marketing, smart campaigns. Went and grabbed that new lead buyer, and helps if you spell it right. Just gonna search for new lead, should pull up. There we go, default new lead buyer. If I go to add it to my library, I can then make customizations to it. So it's getting added to my campaigns. Let's go pull it up in my campaigns now. So you've got your campaigns. And of course, these are all the KV Core options. So you can go pick and choose whichever ones you want to use. And here's this one that I've gone and grabbed. Do double check if you notice you have multiple copies of a campaign. Check on the right-hand side who they're scoped to. If you grab your own copies, it'll be scoped to you and you can make edits to it. If your team or your company or someone else has provided a campaign for you, when you go to open it up, you might not see options to edit. So you might have to make your own copy. But for this default new lead buyer, just some suggestions to throw at you guys. You have the ability to edit those messages and, the text messages and emails. So for example, 7 minutes in, they receive a text message 7 minutes after, that lead was captured and they get added to the smart campaign. It says, hi, thanks for requesting property info on our site. Just curious, are you actively searching for a property or just browsing right now? This might be a good opportunity to, customize this message and include some information about that specific listing if you wanted to. Or you can keep it kind of generalized if you like, but, something to consider if you want to put a little extra work into it. Same thing with the emails as well. So just little ways that you can kind of customize this. Now, I do recommend if you are customizing one of our campaigns, you might also want to change the title here as well. So when you're, flipping through your drop-down menu of options, it's a little bit easier to find whichever campaign that you want to work or whatever campaign you want to add here. So a little pro tip, if I hit the edit bar up at the top where the title is located and click next, I'm looking for set details here. This is where I can go and edit the title. So I might do something like default new lead buyer and then maybe include the title of the listing if I'm making a campaign that's customized for a specific listing follow-up. So just some little pro tips to throw at you guys. All right. So that is the entire campaign. Again, it says 6 out of 7 used because I did breeze over that property boost here. But additionally, you can always go back and check the results of your playbook. So as you're posting this stuff out, you can go and check, which plays that you have or haven't used. You can check how many agents you notified. You can show which agents were sent that email. Same thing with, which matching buyers, which existing contacts you've notified previously. Additionally, you can go and you can, check as well your quick sheet to easily access that squeeze page, landing page, text code, whatever was pre-created for you by the playbook. So you can just quickly, copy those links if you need to grab them and post them out again. Okay, that's a little walkthrough of the Promote a Listing playbook. All right, double checking in the chat here. Kennedy, is there a video that goes along with the playbook? Yeah, so additionally, in that Promote a Listing or in the agenda that I popped, there's a link to the Promote a Listing playbook. So if following along with what I'm doing here seems like a lot, you can always refer back to the support article. So it goes pretty in depth with it as well. I'm just double checking. I know there's a lot of photo images. I don't think this one, it's got some little video snippets to kind of walk you through the process, but I don't think there's a full tutorial video. Now, keep in mind, you can always go back and reference this recording. It'll be posted again in the agenda and also on YouTube. But yeah, maybe one day we'll update the support article to also include a video walkthrough as well. But again, the support article is pretty thorough, walks through every single tip, and does have some little pro tips for you guys as well. So a couple different options and items for you guys as well. So another thing, little pro tip that I kind of skipped over as well. If you want to be able to track your leads progress, which leads you've captured so you can know how to easily pull them up, might also be helpful to take note of whatever hashtags you assign to those leads when you're using those lead generation tools in the playbook as well. All right, and I'm going to pause here on playbook unless you guys have additional questions about the playbook. And I want to go back to Keith's question about Google Contact Sync. I think we have enough time left to do a quick demo of that. Additionally, again, I want to open it up to questions for you guys. Feel free to utilize the chat or the Q&A. What questions do you guys have about today's topic? Or what questions do you have regarding anything else in KV Core? We got some time left in our day. If you have a question about KV Core, now's your time to shine. Pop those in the Q&A or chat. In the meantime, we're just going to answer Keith's question. We're going to dive into that Google Contact Sync. All right. Now, if you've ever joined a Building Your Pipeline webinar with me, then you may have already seen this item. But I'm just going to demonstrate in every KV Core platform. In the upper right-hand corner, just to the right of this blue quick actions drop-down menu, there's a little envelope symbol. If you go to click on that envelope symbol, you'll notice you have options to connect a Google Mail account or an Outlook Mail account. Additionally, if you ever forget it's up here, if you try to go click on your calendar, again, it does require being added through Google or Outlook. So you'll also see options to connect a Google or Outlook account this way as well. Now, just for fun, I'll go ahead and I'll connect my Google Mail account. I am going to drag this off screen a little bit. I don't want YouTube to get mad at me for sharing out personal contact information, but it's going to ask me what email I want to connect to KV Core. And then additionally, it just asks me to allow permissions. Now, after I've chosen to connect my email with KV Core, and I did mention, again, you've got the options of Outlook or Google. Unfortunately, there's no connections with Yahoo or other mail providers at this time. And I will also point out you can only connect one email address at a time. So if you do have multiple emails, this may not be the method that you choose, or maybe you just want to prioritize your primary email address. You can also go and, switch between emails if you really wanted to. But no, and that looks a little funny. I'm going to refresh my screen real quick. maybe close some of these links. Maybe that'll help. But there we go. We go back to this envelope icon. And what's going to happen is it's going to load a number next to it. So 99 plus, I've got a lot of unread or new messages in here. So this is populating the emails from my connected email address. And if I go to Google settings, which if you're connecting an Outlook account to your KV Core account, this will say Outlook settings instead. And you go click on it. This is where I can adjust what syncs with KV Core. So I can sync over my emails if I want to read those emails here, or if that's not what I'm using this for, feel free to toggle it off. I can also sync my Google Calendar with KV Core. So I'll click that on to give you guys a preview of what that looks like in KV Core as well. And then I can also use this for contact syncing as well. Now, again, I mentioned this is an ongoing sync process. This is a two-way sync process. If I click toggle on this toggle, it's going to sync all my contacts from Google into KV Core. It does update roughly every hour. So every hour, if you go back to your CRM, you'll probably see, if you have new contacts in Google, it typically loads to KV Core within about an hour. Now, additionally, I mentioned it's a two-way sync. You do have some choices when it comes to pushing KV Core contacts into your Google account. You can manually select which leads you want to sync over to Google, or again, you can have that be a continuous sync where it's always on and they always come to your Google account. Now, something to note about syncing contacts this way, I get to choose what status those contacts will have when they import into KV Core. So, for my personal email contacts, I'd probably assume, a lot of them are probably going to be my sphere of influence, friends, family members, coworkers, neighbors. But I can also select, maybe I know that most of them are, maybe it's an email address I use specifically for my clients or for new leads or, however I'm generating, I can choose what status. But you can only choose one here. And if there's they should be a different status. You can go back and update their status in your CRM afterwards. You will notice there's no way for those contacts to come in with a particular hashtag or a particular deal type here. So there's no way to determine through this auto sync function, if everybody coming in is a seller, for instance. So I'd have to go back and update the way that they're labeled in my CRM. So that's, I would say, the only disadvantage of syncing contacts this way. It is very convenient just to have them automatically load in from my email. But I'm a big fan personally of using our bulk import tool, but I may be a little biased. All right, I'm going to go ahead and save those settings real quick and view the calendar just to give you guys a little example, and we'll disconnect and I'll answer some of those other questions that we got going on in the Q&A and chat. I see a couple people have popped some in here. So Google Calendar is giving you a little visual. Again, I'm on the main dashboard in KV Core, and I just scrolled down a little bit and clicked on Calendar. We can see my Google Calendar is located here as well because I've got that synced, so I can see all that activity here. I do want to mention the Google Calendar is also a kind of two-way sync function. So for example, if I've got, tasks for myself in KV Core to go follow up, those tasks, if I have my Google Calendar connected, will end up showing up on my Google Calendar. So another way to, view those tasks that you've set for yourself. I'm going to go ahead and disconnect my Google. There we go. Now it's prepped for my next demo of that feature. All right, so let's continue on. I noticed a couple other questions going on in the chat and Q&A. Jerry said, how do you add attachments to emails you send through the system? We have a whole support article on that. Oh, and one more time in the chat, I know I've shared it out earlier. Here's the support article about syncing Google to KV Core. Again, if you're looking to sync an Outlook, it's a pretty similar process, but if you want to find a specific article for that, just type Outlook in the search bar. But I'm going to look for attachments. Oh, how to email an attachment to your contacts. So we got a great support article on this for you if you're looking to add an attachment to your email through KV Core. So you would be using the advanced email editor wherever you go to send an email in KV Core. I'm just going to quickly click on, say, the Smart CRM here. We'll go send an email to Timothy here. I'm going to want to use the advanced editor. You'll usually see a button for that. Go open it on up. and then load it on in here. And for that advanced email editor tool, where we go? So what you're going to do is you can go and drag, say, a button tile in there, and then you can go ahead and link a file. So a couple different ways that you could do that, but this document goes, and that support article, I should say, goes and outlines that process for you. So to give you a little insight into that process. All right, and I know we're getting close on time. Got a couple more questions in here. Let's see, if I have a lender, do they have to register a KV Core account, or I only need to add them to my KV Core profile as a lender? They work with different lenders. Anonymous attendee. Now, I would say if you're functioning as just an agent at KV Core and you're not a broker or admin, unless your broker or admin has already added that lender to KV Core, you probably won't be able to select them through your KV Core profile as a lender, or, we won't have that option if, say you wanted to, let me go and open that back up. Apologies, folks. If you wanted to, say, go to your CRM and add a contact to a lender, you may notice that unless you've gone and added that lender, or that lender's already been added to KV Core, you might not see that as an option. So do be wary of that. So it is up to your broker or admin to add lenders into the KV Core platform. And then, once your lenders are invited to KV Core, they do get their own KV Core account. The only difference is they don't get their own KV Core website, so they don't get all of the lead generation tools that a typical agent account would get, but they do get the Smart CRM, and they go view any contacts which you share with them. I do want to mention that we also have learning portal courses. We've got support articles that talk about that process as well. So if you want more information on, inviting a lender to KV Core, I think those are great resources for you if you want a deeper dive into that. Let's see. Yes, Rosetta, if you add and then disconnect Google Gmail, do the contacts imported remain after the disconnect? Yes, absolutely. I think I've got a couple contacts that I've added in here. Yeah, so did some testing of this actually just recently. Google Contact Sync. You can see this contact is in here, and my Google has been disconnected. So they're still in here even after I have disconnected. All right, and then double checking last question in the Q&A. Keith says, the reason I asked about the sync is I do have my Google Contacts synced. However, new contacts haven't been added to KV Core. All right, Keith. Yeah, I was going to say, if it's been over, I know typically it updates every hour or so. Now, there is always a chance of, some issue going on behind the scenes that I'm not aware of, that maybe our support team may be aware of. I typically say, for good measure, maybe give it 24 hours. But if it still seems like that's being an issue, you've added new contacts to Google, and you're not seeing them add in here, I would also be wary of if it's a duplicate contact as well. KV Core does detect duplicate contacts based on their email address. So if you've already got that same contact in your Smart CRM with the same exact email address, it might just be detecting that contact's already in KV Core and therefore is not adding it again. So something to be wary of that. If you know that it's not a duplicate contact, that person isn't already in your Smart CRM, but they're still not being loaded from Google, then in that case, I might reach out to support to report that issue. You can chat in your issues to support, and if you provide any screenshots, that's really great and helpful as well. Or you can also shoot them an email, kvcore@insiderealestate.com. Okay. All right. I hope that helps you. I'm not seeing any other questions in the Q&A and chat, and I think we're just over time. So I think it's time to wrap this on up. I want to thank you guys so much for joining me here today. Again, keep in mind, we host success meetups every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Topics change all the time. If there's something you really want to know about, feel free to, let us know in the chat, the Q&A, maybe make a post about it, or make a comment about it in the Facebook group. Let us know, hey, I'd love to see a success meetup on XYZ. And, it might show up in one of our future topics. So love suggestions. Thank you guys so much for joining. Oh, and Rosetta, attachment to text. There isn't a good way to attach a file to a text. What you could do, what I've seen a lot of people do as a workaround is, if you're creating something like a Google Doc that has a link, just link that or add that link to your text message. And that could be a way to kind of share out. So not exactly an attachment, but kind of a workaround for you. All right. I think that's it for now, guys. Thanks for joining. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care.